from the moment you bought the place and you started the renovation until you were able to move in there?
About 4 months. I think that was about 1 month too early, because I think I had a small fight with my girlfriend and she was like, get out. And I had to kind of move in a little bit early. But then I had a bed. It was just details left. And if you do DIY, like, you'll never be 100% finished. It will always be 90% finished. The last 10% is like impossible to finish. So it took about 4 months, and I would say the place was about 90% finished, maybe 6 months after I started the renovation. And then I moved in completely, moved all these things from my girlfriend's place and moved in there.
But that's only when things really got started.
That's
right?
Exactly. Then I felt, okay, this is something I want to do again. Because when you're done, you have this 1 month or 2 month period of, you're letting it sink in. What are you going to do now? And I knew I wanted to keep doing this. So I started looking for houses. That was right before COVID, and my dad came to visit, and he also loves DIY. He also loves renovating homes. And he asked me if we could watch and go and look at some old houses in Tokyo, because that's a great way to see how Japanese people live. So I reached out to the broker friend of mine, and he rode us around in a small little Toyota car. And we looked at 4 or 5 old houses. One of them was just a few minutes away from my apartment that I bought and that I lived in at the time. And I knew the moment I stepped in there, like, this could be a really cool house. And when COVID hit, I didn't have the funds. I didn't have nothing to, like, it was just to show my dad and kind of like do something fun while being there. And COVID hit, and the broker reached out to me again, called me up and said, the owner of this place, they really need to sell. I think they had some trouble with COVID, financially though. And the broker told me, okay, they really got to sell. You get 30% off. I'll give you a loan, 100% loan. Do you want the house? And I just said yes. I got the house a few weeks later, and during COVID, I basically became a carpenter, because there were all these Kinkyu Jitaisengen, the
state of emergency. Shouldn't go or couldn't go to many places, yeah.
So I became a carpenter, and I learned how to go from the apartment to this house. And this house took about half a year, because it was a full house, about 80 square meters, but I learned, obviously renovating a house versus renovating an apartment is completely different. I learned that houses are not insulated. There's single pane windows, like there's a lot of tilt to be done. It's a much bigger project taking on an Akiya than actually doing an apartment. But with that said, there is also a lot more possibilities, because you own all the land in most cases. So 6 months into renovating that one, then I moved in with my girlfriend, and there was this Akiya on my street, another Akiya, that I knew was abandoned as well. There are actually 2, but there's only one that I saw a lot of potential in this one. So I knocked the door to my neighbor and asked them if they knew the contact information to that person. And they did, and they asked, why do you want their contact information? And I said, yeah, well, I'm doing DIY. You saw I made the other house this nice. Maybe I can buy and renovate that one as well. And she said, okay, yeah, sure. And she gave me the contact information, and I reached out, and they came by 4 weeks later. They came by every second month just to air out the house. And we talked for about 13, 14 months, and they showed me the house inside. It was filled with things everywhere. This is the house that went viral online. And out of respect, like, it was a full life in there. And they asked me, do you really want to buy this? Like, why would you want to buy this? Our things are everywhere. This is going to be so expensive for you. And I knew I could pull it off, but at the same time, you got to show respect to the seller as well. It was really like, tripping on toes. I couldn't really check if there were water leaks. You couldn't really check if the pillars were solid. But we agreed on a price of about 10 million yen, which is incredibly cheap for an Akiya, but it was also a lot of work. Also, the registry wasn't really what it said it was as well. It was built in 1936, so actually pre-war. And I spent about 1 year into renovating this house. At the same time, I was doing YouTube in Japanese as well. And the Japanese people thought I was crazy actually pulling something off. Because, as you know, Japanese culture, they tear old buildings down and then they build something brand new. But I was actually using the old material, using old pillars and just maintaining and renovating this house.